Blessings, everyone. Today, I would like to offer an oracle reading, and this is from the Shamanic Medicine Oracle deck. There has been just this absolutely beautiful, beautiful feeling of the ancestors around today. It feels very grounded today, a lot of earth medicine. And so Spirit kind of gave a nudge to pick up this deck and do a reading. First, I would like to say thank you to Source for allowing me to be a medium of light. I would also like to invite the ancestors close and the four directions, any of the spirit animals and the elementals that would join us today so that I may bring a message for the highest good. I am grateful. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to shuffle. I do three. One is for the embodiment of Source. Two is for spirit. And three is for soul. And then what I do is I like to move the deck around a little bit. Spirit usually will pop out the card that is felt for this. Sometimes not. Sometimes it's more of an intuitive thing where I just, whoop, but we do have one. Actually, I'm going to take both because this is phenomenal. Always leave it to Spirit. The first one is bells. And I don't know if anybody's hearing, I'm sure you are, but I have some beautiful wind chimes. It's very windy today, and they've been very prominent the last few days. As a matter of fact, I was doing some of my singing bowls, and they were coming through. It's just, when it's windy like that, I notice them, and so Spirit is bringing notice to that beautiful chiming sound. And the message under it is deflection. And so I know many of us work with sacred sound, and when we are using the bells or the chimes, that kind of clears out the energy. It brings an instant resonance into the area, or sometimes we'll ring them over our oracle cards or any of the area that we're blessing. The sound of the chimes and the bells gets rid of any negativity. And so today, a message coming through very strong is to pay attention to that shift of energy, that along with bringing in the good energy and sharing the good energy, we have to be very aware of when there is some of the negative energy that's around. Right now, the East Coast, where I'm at, they're having a little bit of a storm. And so a lot of people associate the storms with negative energy and the wind. But really, the north winds are beautiful, and they bring in a very powerful, old, wise energy. There's a lot of stories that come with that. And so actually the next card that comes up is Purge, and that is the West. The owl is the symbol of wisdom. And so as I'm hearing the chimes and I'm being directed with the bells, that we have to be able to dissipate the negative energy. And then I'm being drawn to purge with the wise owl. One of the messages that is coming through very clear and very strong is that we have to be able to clear out and get rid of all of this negativity. That it's not something ever that we should let go stagnant. A lot of us are energy workers. Some of us are going through a lot of changes right now. And so with that, we have to make sure that we are clearing out the negative energy, that we're not just leaving it. I know a lot of us have certain rituals or ceremonies. We're smudging, we're using our bells and our chimes, different intentions. Some of us are lighting candles, casting our spells, whatever Spirit is drawing us to. They are asking very strongly, though, that we do set the intention to get rid of the negative energy. It needs to be moved. That sometimes what happens is, if we're not purging that, we're not allowing the wisdom that comes in, the new wisdom that comes in, the new information, the new energies, it kind of hovers. They're using the term hover because of the wings. It's not something that we can take in then, because we haven't made the exchange. Just like when we're offering ceremony, we're giving tobacco, sweetgrass, or we're having a barter system where we're exchanging different, if someone is creative and they've knitted a blanket and then someone else makes beautiful jewelry and we've exchanged that energy. We also need to do the same thing between the positive uplifting energy and wisdom and anything that we feel is negative. It's bringing us in a negative space. Not necessarily when they're speaking of this are they talking about the shadow work, because I know they're very fast with this today. They're speaking of the shadow work, and know the difference that shadow work is not a negative energy. And if we give emotions to it and we hold on to it, it can become a collective negative energy. Sort of like they give the term Enoch when there's energy gathered up and it stays in an area. If you've ever walked into someone's house, they're showing me, you could sense when there's been like a really heated argument, and or if there's been a lot of sadness, depression, loss, it collects and it stays. It's like a residual energy that forms its own imprint, and they sometimes call that an Enoch. And so we have to be very conscious of that, because they're speaking of a lot of people get this confused and they feel like their area is haunted or there's ghosts or such. And they're saying that the bells chiming, it's a wake-up call for us to understand that sometimes we're creating our own negative imprints. Sometimes if it's a large family and there's a lot of disagreements, this residual energy takes on a space of its own. It literally imprints in the area. It could imprint, they're giving me an example that sometimes a lot of our young teens have been going through a lot of emotional changes. You know, that age when they're having, they're at that age where they're teetering between defiance. Sometimes they're having a lot of emotional hormone changes. And if, the parents are stressed or the caretakers are stressed, whomever is with the young person, there can be a lot of arguing and things going on, or misunderstandings. And if we don't clear out that energy, we're not using our smudging or our intentions, whatever it is that we do for that, it becomes stagnant. And it does. It takes on its own imprint. It becomes its own force of energy. And sometimes that can confuse people, where they start to feel like, oh my goodness, the lights are flickering. I'm having nightmares. I'm feeling negativity in the house. It feels dark and dense. And that is something that we can change. It's not anything that's going to harm us. It's not going to choke us in the bed at night. You hear some of these stories. But it does cause that imprint, and it can be felt. And we need to do something. Whether it's clearing out the energy with whatever's causing that. Sometimes that's a process. So we can't just smudge away our young teenagers' emotional changes. We can't smudge away the stress that mom or dad had the day at work. We have to deal with these things. We have to process these things. But we must make it a point to get rid of the energy. And so west is where the sun sets. They're bringing my attention to that. They're saying, never go to bed angry. Never go to bed with that negativity. Don't bring that. We have to release that. as the sun is setting in the west, it's reminding us that there is going to be a new day. And we need to let things go. Let things, when the sun touches the horizon, there's that beautiful sunset, that burst of light that comes across. It's that fiery phoenix orange color. And that is a reminder for us to let those negative energies go. Give it back to the west. Send it off with gratitude. Heal it so we don't leave the imprint there. Purge. And they're bringing my attention also to the circle, that we don't want to get caught up in the cycles. We have to be able to move through that. That's the owl is wise. We have to call upon that wisdom that we have. We have to call upon the knowledge, all our resources, whether it's meditations, energy healings. Again, they're bringing up our different rituals, smudging or ceremonies, to use that. That's the wisdom we're given. And so they are asking for me to read a little bit from the book on the deflection with the bells. So I am going to pick that up. If you just be patient with me for a moment. Sometimes it gets, okay, here we are. The bell branch is used for healing, invoking spirits, and to summon the spirit of sacred sites. Forms of the bell branch or the spirit chaser use animal bones or sacred trees. Traditionally, the bell branch was a tree branch, white or silver in color, with gold bells attached, and it was used to remove negative energy and unwanted intrusions by creating a vibrational gateway to the other worlds through resonance. And so I use the crystal singing bowls. I am very attuned with sound, and that is something that I'm very aware of. And sometimes spirit will bring through certain resonances. Today I've done the solar plexus, and that also is another one that clears away that negative energy so it doesn't imprint in an area. We don't want, if we've had a heated discussion in the living room, we don't want to keep that there. And so I'm very aware of that. And I sometimes, even with our person, we have the residual energy that settles into our body. In the physical, we can wind up with stomach aches or heartburn. We can have migraines. And so along with the bells, they're speaking of, I've brought this up before, muscle testing to see if we're holding on to any of this energy. And if so, we can call on our ancestors for guidance. And we can also use the different forms of sound, bells. Some people use shamanic drumming. We can even use our voice. We can hum. There's the throat sounds, the Tibetan throat singing that people sometimes do, or even your favorite song. You can put on your favorite song and sing, and that can move the energy, because intention is everything with what we do. And so these are the messages that I have today. I hope this in some way inspired, just as a more of a reminder to make sure that we clear this out, because along with when we're working with our shadow work, we don't want to leave that energy behind after we've moved through it. So much love to everyone, many blessings, and thank you for allowing me to share a message today.